What's going on, everybody? John Ramdeen and Robin Black here in our downtown studios. This past Saturday night, UFC on Fox went down in Sacramento, California. I guess the unofficial main event, the main event for Robin and I, and I'm sure a lot of mixed martial arts fans. We saw the retirement of Uriah Faber as he got the unanimous decision victory over the ultra-tough Brad Pickett, and what a great night it was for Uriah Faber, because based on the way he looked, his movement, his mobility, his strategy in that fight, it does not seem like Uriah Faber needs to retire from mixed martial arts competition, but he wants to go out on his A game. I think we were talking about it on 5 rounds. He says that he feels the way that Fedor looks. So to be able to get this victory against a talented, ultra-tough Brad Pickett in his own backyard, awesome for Uriah Faber.
It was awesome, and I was super happy when I watched it. And now I'm kind of sad.
No.
Because you don't get to see Uriah fight anymore. You know? You don't think about that. And, you know, he's done more than enough for fighting, for himself, for the sport of fighting, for the lighter weight classes. He was a world champion. You know, and that's important, I think, to him. I'm glad he realizes that now. The WEC was the bantamweight and featherweight. The WEC was the world champion, so he was the world champion, and that's good. But I'm sad I don't get to see him fight anymore. You know, those are some of the best experiences I've had as a fan, is watching Uriah Faber fight. But he's going to move on and do other things in his life. Don't pity Uriah Faber. The guy's still handsome. Yeah. He's still rich. He still has businesses and runs a gym and was a world champion. So we should be happy for him.
And what's amazing is that he said he feels like he's just graduating school. Now he gets to go out into the real world, and to have a mindset like that and a mentality after dealing with the grind of wrestling and going through this strange experiment that is mixed martial arts. Because, you know, when Uriah Faber was doing this, when he was fighting, there was no big money to be made. No. Uriah Faber was the guy, and whatever money he was making in the WEC or Gladiator Challenge was the most amount of money you could possibly make. And then you continue to do the things that you're doing, fighting in the WEC, making a name for yourself. And again, exactly what you said, Uriah Faber, world champion. People can argue that. Dominick Cruz, a WEC champion. Carlos Condit, a WEC champion. Brian Stann, a WEC champion. 100% legitimate. So Uriah Faber, being a WEC champion, puts him on par with any UFC champion ever. It's all of his in-cage performances that make Uriah Faber so special. His matchups with Jens Pulver, and the trilogy with Dominick Cruz, and his fight with Jose Aldo. Just the in-cage performances, and the fact that he is a game day performer every time he steps into the cage, win or lose, speaks volumes about Uriah Faber.
100%. And those are big chapters of his life. The Dominick Cruz trilogy, of course, I think will be the chapter people remember the most. And he made Dominick Cruz a better fighter. Of course. Dominick Cruz made him a better fighter. They made each other a lot of money. And they were really important to each other. You need a foil, you know? And they got a chance, some people saw it on TV, they got a chance to hug it out at the end.
That's
Dom's
awesome.
Still needling him ever so slightly, which is authentic to him. And he, you know, that odd relationship that the two of them had, they'll be remembered for it always. Dom's got to go try to beat up one of his proteges just in less than 2 weeks now, who he doesn't have any problem getting that guy riled up. He's having fun with that, too.
How do you think Uriah Faber feels physically? He says that he feels beaten up. When you look at Faber, he looks like he's in tip-top form. What does a lifetime of mixed martial arts competition do to somebody physically?
Yeah, that's you'd need to sit down with him and have a couple of beers, and then, you know, if you talk to him, it won't be, you know, oh, I got this scar from Jens when he hit me with this thing, and I got this, but it'll be these weird soft tissue pains. There'll be aches in the hips and the knees, the elbows. You get beaten up just wrestling through high school and college, all those fights. It's in the gym where all that damage really happens, and we've seen them. We've been at shows where 1 second you're talking to Rampage Jackson, you're like, wow, are there a lot of scars on his face when you get up close? And then you go over, and at the same show, there's Mike Bisping. You're like, oh, dude, that guy's eye does not look right. And you go over, and it's Fabio Maldonado. And I know that he's speaking Portuguese, but I'm pretty sure he's, you know, it's not
damaged
all. Yeah,
Portuguese.
Exactly. And you see what a lifetime does to these guys. For Uriah to get out now, it's something that young fighters should admire and they should learn from. Not all of you are going to be rich and famous and super successful, but all of you can get out healthy and on top of your game and move on to other exciting chapters of your life.
One of the things I've learned, though, is being in this game, fighters love to fight, and especially a guy like Uriah Faber, where you're getting, when he got into the game of mixed martial arts and no holds barred, there was no big prize. He was doing it to test himself as a martial artist and a combat sports athlete. So you would imagine that he's stepping away from the sport. We've seen how good he looked in this last fight against Pickett, how good he looked against Frankie Saenz, and Frankie Saenz is ultra tough, and yes,
undefeated.
Eddie Wineland took him out. The Frankie Edgar fight, it's Frankie Edgar, for God's sakes. You step away from the sport, there's got to be some point where you're like, okay, I need to get back in there.
There's all these things he's going to love. Oh, man, my knees hurt less, so, I can eat burgers. There's all these things, but then there's going to be the stuff he misses. Adventure. Why did they fight? They fought for adventure. And he's going to miss that. And he's going to miss the times where the single-minded nature of 6 weeks of focus on one goal. There's a beauty in that. There's a beautiful simplicity in that. And he's going to miss that. And he's going to miss going in there and the camaraderie of the team on the night where they come around. There's a lot of things he's going to miss. And, he is retired. But you can be retired and still do one more for fun. That's still retired. He's retired from being a permanent, long-term, living professional athlete. That doesn't mean he might not ever fight again.
Uriah Faber will certainly go down as one of the most important fighters in mixed martial arts history, a former WEC champion who has his fingerprints all over the UFC.